What's up guys, Houndish here. Today we are jumping back in to Destiny 2. We have some news and updates here. Bungie talk about a couple of bugs and fixes that they've got coming up in the near future. We'll also talk about January's delayed Arms Week event, which resulted in a kind of interesting bug in the game, as well as a confirmation or indication that the first 2026 event was supposed to have already happened. Outside of that, we'll speak about some additional rewards that we'll be earning in the near future, and a bunch of other things to round up. So if you guys enjoy this one, a rating would very much help us out on the channel. Be sure as well to hit subscribe and I'll keep you up to date with more content, but now let's get into it. First up today, of course, in January there have been a lot of questions about Arms Week and when it's actually coming back. Bungie had originally said that we would get Arms Week in January. Players were frustrated about it when they didn't confirm in the TWID whether it was happening or not. There were also confusing replies on the forums from Bungie mentors. They were marked as the official reply, stating that there have been no announcements of any Arms Week events. So all a bit confusing really, but Bungie finally confirmed on X Arms Week will return later in January, and they say enjoy the increased heavy ammo in the portal this week. So Arms Week will be coming in the next fortnight. However, a lot of folks seem to think we would get it in the second week of January. But it turns out that may have just been the week where we were supposed to get it, because, interestingly, at last week's reset, Ada 1 was actually present in the shooting range. And of course, she's only there for Arms Week events. Another thing here I didn't even know, but whenever Ada is present in the shooting range, so is Banshee. So it's an indication that the event was pushed back for some reason internally, and it may have been to do with the Dawning lasting for 3 weeks or something like that. Either way, we'll finally get access to the King Orfeo and the Heron when Arms Week indeed returns. On the subject of the heavy ammo buff this week though, haven't really tested damage numbers or anything, but there is obviously a buff to the damage and a slight increase in the heavy ammo drop rate, but whether you find that exciting probably depends how much Portal content you're actually playing. And for me personally, right now, I just don't, to be honest. On the subject of the Portal though, in case you missed that discussion yesterday, we spoke about a game design convention presentation that David Canlan from Bungie had done, where they talk about developing the director for D1, and at one point in development they went from having a world map to a simplified list, essentially like the Portal, but decided that it basically sucked all of the fun and the cool stuff out of the director design and generally spoiled the immersion that they'd achieved with the director. The crazy thing is that 10 years later, Bungie essentially forgot that they made that decision. So one of those funny instances where often you get folks in the community who say Bungie don't listen to player feedback. In this case, they also didn't listen to their own feedback. But I'll link the video about that down below if you want to check it out. Another one a lot of folks ask about is Iron Banner. Currently nothing is scheduled for February, so you never know, it might show up then. There are some interesting rewards actually that have been added. Firstly, a shader called Iron Bananer, which is an interesting spelling there, a Bungie mocking us English folk, maybe. But we're going to get a bright yellow shader by the looks of it for Iron Banner. Otherwise, there's the new emblem you can see on screen, and, as far as we know, the Iron Panoply armor set will still be featured for this time around. Otherwise, there is a new Void rapid-fire frame auto rifle called Reg Husk's Pledge. So as far as we know, those are the only kind of reward updates, one new weapon, but another chance at the armor where I'm sure quite a few folks probably missed out on it before. So I'll keep you posted when we get details on when that will be. Here for a few quick updates from Bungie. DMG said quite a few bans actually go out silently from the team with regards to cheaters in Destiny 2. Some of them based on their cheat detections, others based on player reports. But he recognises it is hard to see the good work when assholes continue to get through, and the team is continuing to iterate, improve and detect cheaters to get them out of the game. But he apologises for instances where they tarnish the experience. Obviously, versus how it was a few years back, anti-cheat for Destiny 2 is currently not doing a good enough job by any means, but honestly I don't see that changing in a significant way. In connection to the lobby balancing thing for Trials though, which Bungie fixed this week in the patch, DMG said the issues were simple mistakes in missed fields on the back end or a given setting being changed by accident when updating alternate content. In some instances, a server-side change could be leveraged to fix it, but in the most recent the game required a patch which couldn't be done until after the holiday period. They do say though, some extra work has been done to hopefully prevent this cropping up again, and will be double and triple checking. The issue was not intentional by any means, so it will be interesting to see if this ends up cropping up randomly again in the future. So I guess we'll watch this space in upcoming seasons. Another weird bug where some folks have been seeing their Guardian rank reset from higher levels down to 2 again. This appears to have happened a few times that I've seen mentioned in the last week. And the official answer that Bungie marked is that it seems during Edge of Fate, the game actually failed to reset some players back down to rank 2 when they reworked the Guardian rank system. And basically there's been some kind of course correction in the last week or so, where players who weren't reset correctly have actually been put back down the Guardian ranks, which I'm not sure if that even affects, tier 5 rewards at this point, but it'd be pretty annoying to go from being able to earn higher tier stuff to getting lower stuff. You'll have to let me know if that's how it actually works still. Obviously, we do have a few months to kind of level those back up again, but when it comes to Shattered Cycle, it's possible they'll be reset, as it's not only a new expansion, but of course a new year for Destiny. And by the way, the current date that the Guardian ranks say they're going to reset actually leads up to the 21st of July 2026. And as we've said, that doesn't confirm anything necessarily, but these dates have previously given us an early glimpse of release dates for upcoming drops, so it's a possibility. There's a separate date actually listed in the reward pass though, which is for March, and that's for the Shadow and Order update when we do get a new reward pass. So just to clarify, there are 2 different dates depending on which menu you're looking at, one for Shadow and Order and another potentially for the expansion, but I feel like that's a long way out just yet and we're waiting for the roadmap and all that. Seen a lot of speculation that the roadmap may actually be delayed until Sony's fiscal year ends. I don't know if that's true. Some folks speculate that Sony may not have assigned, resources to Destiny 2 until they know more about how the full year for the game has actually performed. It's kind of a guessing game, but I sincerely hope that Bungie give us an indication on when some of these bigger state-of-the-game level conversations will actually happen. The final couple of mentions here, but according to damage testers, an uncharged heirloom shot actually deals 10% more damage than Xenophage. And players point out that is a heavy weapon, so is that pretty strange in terms of actual damage for a special weapon? I mean, I guess to an extent it is, but heirloom is supposed to be a very high damage weapon, especially given that we actually have to charge it up to get the majority of its damage. Regardless, interestingly, it does kind of highlight both of those exotics are probably things that should actually get buffs in my opinion. Xenophage has actually been left behind for quite a while when you think about it, but Heirloom is pretty new, yet also kind of lackluster. It can do stuff, but I think the biggest problem with it, aside from the damage and the sort of flashiness of the weapon overall, is just how much heat it accumulates in a couple of shots. So I do hope that we see it buffed, but you'll have to give me your thoughts on how Bungie do that down in the comments section. A last mention here if you haven't supported it yet, but of course Bungie's Game to Give campaign is now live, so they mentioned it in the TWID last week, but all of the rewards are currently available. That includes emblems, even a shader, exotic vehicles, and other items which are unique to this event and can be unlocked with donations. So obviously you may want to support your favourite streamer who might be involved in this, or you can head straight to the Tiltify page, which I'll link down below, where you can support it directly and unlock some pretty cool rewards. So worth a look, as it's all for a good cause. For today though, that is what we have to speak about, so I appreciate you tuning in. If you've enjoyed the video, a rating would very much help us out. Also be sure to hit subscribe and I'll keep you up to date with more D2 content. But otherwise, very much appreciate you watching and I hope you guys have an awesome day.